How you guys doing? It's Nick Lizia from Contemporary Plumbing and Heating. We're excited to share our journey in the plumbing industry with you guys, so come along and check out our newsletter.
These are one of the BJs in the state where this is from the ground up. My name's Teddy Kwolek. I'm the plumbing foreman for Contemporary Plumbing and Heating. We're here at the BJ's job in Whippany, New Jersey. We have a lot of plumbing going in here. We'll start with the underground. The underground, we have 4 different systems coming in here. We have 2 separate condensates, one going outside into a pit and one that's going outside that's going to be tying into our storm. We also have a sanitary and we also have a greaseway system. The greaseway system compiles in this area. It has a whole run that goes to the end of the building that feeds directly for any, we got the produce section, which lines are going to the condensate, but we have a rotisserie area, we have a meat prep area, and all of that is going to be going into this greaseway system. This greaseway system goes all the way to the outside of the building into a giant grease trap outside that takes any of the grease that we have and takes the regular water and it has it come outside. That eventually gets sucked out of the greaseway system. We also have a sanitary, one on this side of the building, one on the opposite side, which I'll be showing you. The sanitary on this side compiles of floor drains for our mechanical room. We have an eye wash system. We also have a tire center bathroom on the far end, which we'll see, and that does our sanitary. As far as above ground, we have a lot of, from 3-inch down, we have a copper going up in the ceiling. This is our mechanical room. We have 3-inch copper that's getting fed, coming up, and it's feeding anywhere from all our sinks that are in the greaseway system, our eye wash. We have a whole run of 2.5-inch copper that goes to the bathroom down at the other end, and we have water feeding in all the areas. All the waters are going to be branched off into sinks. Like I said, we have eye washes, we have condenser units up on the roof. We also have hydrants up in the roof for either for cleaning purposes on the roof and whatnot. Over here, we have a floor sink. This is going to compile with a 3-compartment sink over here, and it's all going to dump into this area. They use this because a lot of the times when you do sinks, it comes down the wall and it stubs out of the wall. Over here, there's so many compartments in the sink where we just tie in and there'll be a whole air gap area right here and it dumps in. There's a trap underneath to eliminate any smells. Over here, these are floor drains. We use these floor drains so when they're in this area, and this is a tiled area, they'll have a hose in here and they're gonna wash out the whole area. So all this gets squeegeed into the floor drain and it disposes of it. We also have a condensate system that goes outside the building, and we have a condensate system that goes into a tank. The condensate systems are going to be from all refrigeration. If you see all these stub outs that we have up on the floor, these are all going to be refrigeration freezer units that have condensation and that flows out to our system outside. If a single measurement is off, we would have to chip the area around here, dig everything out. We try to minimize that. It's very important that these measurements were on the money. They have a prefab unit that goes on this slab. As you can see, this is the last thing they poured. They framed after our pour, and just to ensure that our measurements were on the money. Over here on each corner of the building, we have a primary drain and an overflow drain. The reasoning for that is if, God forbid, the primary drain ever gets clogged up and the roof fills up with water, we have an overflow where the water dumps into. So on each corner of the building, you'll see a whole line coming, connecting to our 2 primary and overflows coming alongside of the wall. And they will know that they have a problem on the roof with the drainage when there's water coming out on the overflow in the side of the building. These are called risers. We don't have walls to drop down, we go along the wall. So for instance, over here, we have a hot water heater coming in this area. We have 2.5-inch lines coming down, a 3/4 for a hot water recirc line that we have. The hot water recirc comes off of the hot, feeds back into the cold, so you constantly have hot water coming when you turn on the faucet. When you dig, you have to know what you're doing. This is called the trench drain. You have to have pitch on the lines. There's always gravity. What made this a tough job is, so if the ground is not level, This has to be at the height of what the asphalt or whatever you're gonna use here. If it's underneath, it's gonna get covered. If it's too high, there's gonna be a lip. But it's very important. We use, it's called the transit laser, and it gives us measurements of what our grade is. Other companies will get a surveyor in here. They'll give you a benchmark at what the height of everything is. We go off of that through numbers off the plans, and it'll give us our footage. And that's how we get our trench drain. This is the employee restroom area. As you see, we have our risers coming down 1.5 inch copper, and then we have our PVC. This is our venting system. You have to have a vent in the system for stuff to drain. So our vent, eventually we're gonna pop through the roof. All our toilets are in a carrier system. If you see over here, we have carriers that we set. Once these are set, they're in the wall, they're sturdy. When the sheetrock comes up, we just put our toilets on these bolts and it's done. Over here, as you can see, all around you have all 3-inch stub ups coming up. Those, like I explained, they were for the refrigeration units. It is very important that we are on top of our measurements and our pinpoints, because you could see over here, you got 2 3-inch pipes that are in the middle of nowhere. We have special plans that would pinpoint off of datum lines or stringer lines that we have, and we had to string a line all the way over here to make sure we had this exact hit. If this hit is off, we would have to chip up the floor, so it's always crucial that we double check all our measurements. But as you can see, this is the middle of nowhere, and we have freezer units in here. For any of the customers, this is going to be their bathroom area. It combines the 2 floors, 1 mezzanine, bathroom underneath. A couple of our guys, we're working on carriers for the urinals for the men's room. We use carriers just for a weight structure. BJ specs everything how they want it. The metal bars that are coming up, those are carriers for urinals. Over here, there's going to be toilets going in this area. We came across a problem where the walls are too close for the carrier system that I explained earlier. So we can't start here. They have to expand the walls. These are little hang-ups that we have on the job, but we get through it. Over here is another set of sinks. So it'll be a men's and women's room. This will be the men's room, obviously, because there's urinals coming in here. And these are the in walls. All our piping is coming across, which we get our in wall done. On the plan, this shows us where to route our main water lines, which is our copper coming across, and we'll make our drops to connect that. On the mezzanine area, we have a couple of sinks, which we'll be poking through. As you can see over here, this is to feed the whole bathroom, and then we would feed up to sinks from underneath. We also have a condensate system from any units that they have up top that would pipe together, consisted of PVC, and will go and it would dump outside of the building. That type of condensate is approved to go outside of the building because that's what the plan calls for. Over here, we're gonna have plumbing. So you see our lines are coming up top over here. I have my guys put the T's in to go to these areas. We have 2 separate sets of inspections. One would be above head, and then we would have in walls. So we have T's set out for this area. This is the optical, for optics for anybody who has glasses. They actually have a sink in this area, which we will pipe. We have our PVC over pipe coming in the wall. And then next to it, we have the snack area where we have a lot of plumbing, floor sinks. In our plans, it shows us to run conduit, CO2 lines for soda. We have to be next to the Coke machine or Pepsi, whatever they use. And we're gonna be running a conduit, so when the guys come from the soda lines, they're gonna push the lines through. This is the opposite end of the storm. There is a critical detail in here with this storm where we had to supply a drain for the sprinkler companies. The sprinkler, whenever they have to drain their line, we had to provide a hub for them so they could drain water. So, plumbing does consist of a lot of details that doesn't involve us, but for other trades. We don't do the sprinklers, but we have to provide for their drainage, yes. BJ, so they want to get going. So every week we have weekly meetings of what has to get done. If I have any issues, I bring it up in the meeting and they would adjust it, and they would basically tell us, this is how we have to do it. Another trade has to get in there first, and we just go accordingly. It's just teamwork. It's all about teamwork and communication. So this is our Connex trailer, Connex we call it. These are extra parts of our trench drains. Extra for roof drains, any material that we have that's just outside. And the inside is We hold all our copper whenever we get deliveries, our scrap copper, any big tools that we have. I'll have all my copper, all our fittings. My plans are against the wall, and if I have any questions, or if my guys have any questions, I refer to the plans. I have like a junior foreman with me, a guy that I've been teaching to show plans. So if we have time at lunch, I'll show him, how to read plans and whatnot. So these trailers, they would be full. This was full of copper at one point. I mean, you can see it's all a little bit. So what I do personally is I'll order a nice bulk, what I need, and then we'll get rid of it. And then if I need any, I'll order accordingly. I try to just go accordingly. Basically for the week, I'll make my material for the week. Just so I don't have to go back. I do go out for, if something in the ceiling where my guys are working, if there's something they have to offset and we don't have the material, I'll run out and get it. But for the most part, it's straight and go.